What's up, guys? This is Mitch back here, and welcome to the Movement Center, and welcome to the hockey series, where we break down the hockey player from the foot, ankle, knee, hip, low back, shoulder, elbow, and wrist, so that you can move like you mean it. Hey guys, welcome back to episode 4 of the hockey series. If you didn't watch part 1, that was going to hip flexors. We put that one up last week. Now we're going into episode 2, or I guess part 2, looking at groins. So pretty common area is injured for a lot of our hockey guys out there. So talking about groins, what's pretty important here, guys, is what we see is a lack of hip flexion. So if you aren't able to get that hip up, driven up into that flex position, so if we go into our skating stance, right, we see Marco, and you just drive that knee forwards, we need quite a bit of hip flexion coming forward. And not only does the hip need to come up, you're sprinting towards the other side of the ice. So what happens is if you're missing that key range of motion, your groin muscles also happen to be hip flexor muscles. So they'll have to work on overtime and really drive that hip up into that flex position, and then they extend all the way back, and they're working in a way they're not really meant to work as hard. And so if you're missing this range of motion, it's pretty key that you work on some of this stuff. So our tip for this, if we have Marco here, is just standing normal. I'm going to lean onto one leg, and we'll have you do this leg, Marco, is drive that knee up into hip flexion as far as you can without compensating or rolling through your lower back, and see if you can get that knee above belly button level. And Marco's awesome at this, so he's got more than enough range. But if he were to come up again, so let's see, and let's just say as example, keep going, so he arches back exactly, or if he stayed neutral but kind of ran out of room right there, this would be something we'd want him to work on, is to get the range. And we want to see his other side too, so if he does his right side, and he comes up, good. He's pretty good there too on both sides. So he can get above that range on both sides, but we want to make sure you can get that level equally on both sides. If one side different than the other, you also want to work on this too. All right, that's your tap. Now to get that, first thing we want to do is release the back of the hip, open up that range or stretch that range out, then activate it. So we're going to use our ball, perfect. You're going to sneak on her back. I call it glute grinder. All right, so Marco's going to get on his back here. He's going to sneak that ball into that back region, kind of into his butt in here. And what we're going to do is
that's a big gap.
Yeah, bends his knee and sneaks in as much or as little weight as he can handle on that area. This, it should be all local over the ball. You can also use a foam roller. Rolling that hip and back and forth. So just to show you guys the movement, he's dropping that hip out toward the side like this. And the idea is he's taking that hip and increasing that pressure and coming back up. Now working on this, open up that whole posterior chain where your hand plug into the back of the hip. Cool. So that's our first part of that. Now once we've done that, our next stretch here is we're going to open up on a box, a stair, a table, whatever you got around, to get that hip up into as much flexion as you can. The key thing here, guys, I don't want to see your lower back dump out or overextend. So if I demo this, you're going to put that foot up like this, drop down, right, get that hip straight up into flexion as much as you can, and then what we're going to do is drive that foot out towards the side to pick up that groin stretch a little bit here, really driving that knee out and trying to pick up that stretch. So I'm getting as much flexion as I can. The back is neutral here. I'm not straight to the side. I'm not flexing or overextending. I'm driving neutral up, keeping that lumbar spine straight, and then driving forwards. Should pick up that stretch in the front of the groin and hip. Okay? So after you've released that groin, that's the next piece that we do. And the last thing, activate this. If you guys saw the one we did in part 1, if you haven't, go back and watch that. This is a variation of that. Alright, so the activation for this one, guys, we want to make sure we can control and strengthen our groin muscles here to do this. Now, if you're a guy out there who's got pain in their groin and it's painful right now, this might not be something you want to try. But if you're pain-free and want to get a bit more resilient and stronger in here, and awesome, want to get a try on. So I'm going to have this sneak around Marco's ankle. And you got to be careful with this, guys, because you can pull out hair. Alright, and we don't want to do that. So you sneak this around the arm, around the ankle. I'm going to sneak over here and kind of hold this. I'm at wall in this situation. He's going to drop down into a lunge. And as he does it, he's going to slide that foot out, resisting from the inside of his leg. And he's going to pull, slide back, pull from the groin and come back in. Awesome. The way back in is probably more important than the way out. Come back out again. And he's slowly controlling that as he drives out. Really important here, guys, throw a towel or something slippery on the floor here so we can really get that good sliding surface coming back up. All right? Thanks, Marco. Good stuff. So if you guys have any questions about that, leave it below. We'd love to answer questions. If you like this, if you can, subscribe to the channel and
Move like you mean it.
move like you mean it. Thanks a lot, guys.